What's good, people? Retronite here. We're going to kick off one of our very first videos talking about one of the most recognizable names in the Cyberpunk universe, Johnny Silverhand. Today we'll talk about his story before the events of the Cyberpunk 2020 tabletop RPG, the now infamous band Samurai and its rebellion against the system, his untimely death, and how he still will exist in Cyberpunk 2077. Johnny became a deserter when he abandoned the United States Marine Corps and returned home to Night City after finding out the atrocities of the American government and their motivations that started the Central American conflict. The USMC changed his life forever. He ended up losing his arm in combat and was replaced with an Arasaka manufactured cybernetic arm, Silverhand. The government used its influence to create powerful propaganda that would make the public hate deserters, but Johnny Silverhand and many like him just wouldn't fight a corrupt war. He also wouldn't back down so easily. Johnny made a vow to fight the oppressors, not with his weapons, but with his words. Johnny started a band called Samurai with his close friend Kerry Uridine. They were intent on producing music that would incite rebellion against government and corporation authoritarianism and corruption. His music was revolutionary and it changed the world. The band rose to the top of the charts in record time, but Samurai couldn't last forever. Samurai split up in 2008 when Nancy, their keyboardist, did a 7-month stint for pushing her abusive husband out of their 83rd story apartment window. The band firmly supported Nancy, but the 7-month lull showed they were each going in different creative directions. Johnny Silverhand was one of the most popular musicians at the time. He planned to use his star power to begin a solo career and continue to push his anti-corporation and anti-government messages. Diverse Media Systems, one of the largest media corps in the world, was expanding into the rockabye recording scene around the same time and wanted to sign him so desperately that after finding out he was deserted from the Marine Corps, they threatened and even tried to blackmail him into signing with their label. Instead, Johnny Silverhand re-signed as a solo artist with Universal Music and released an entire album called Sins of Your Brothers, admitting that he was a deserter and revealing all the terrible things the government had ordered. The album was wildly successful and changed public perception of what it meant to be a deserter, and Johnny Silverhand was not even at the height of his career yet. In the next 12 years, Johnny would become a household name, even finding love along the way, inspiring millions and achieving critical and commercial success on releases like Never Fade Away and Chippin' In. But in Night City, you just don't get to ride your wave for too long. In 2020, Johnny Silverhand's girlfriend, Alt Cunningham, was suddenly kidnapped by thugs working for Arasaka. Arasaka is a Japanese megacorporation dealing in corporate security, banking, and manufacturing. Arasaka wields more financial power than any other single corporation in the world and aren't afraid of using illegal tactics like extortion and blackmail to keep it that way. Johnny later finds out that Alt is the incredibly skilled netrunner that invented Soulkiller, the legendary black program that can track an intruding netrunner's cyberlink faster than a booster can snort some drugs. It tears out the cyberpirate's brain with brutal force, then recreates it in a frozen storage matrix inside the mainframe. Arasaka is working on Soulkiller 2.0, something that can walk the net freely, getting up close and personal with the people Arasaka don't like. And they want our girl Alt Cunningham to develop it for them. Johnny couldn't get Alt back alone though. He needed a team, but only of people he could trust. Johnny contacted his ex-lover, who goes by the name of Rogue, and her partner Nomad Santiago, whom reluctantly, along with his longtime friend and top World News Service reporter Thompson, formed a strike team that would infiltrate Arasaka's Night City headquarters to get her back. And on top of that, he called in a favor from all his old band members. Samurai gathered and performed an entirely free show in front of the Arasaka Tower. Thousands showed up for Samurai's last ever performance, and it was all a diversion. The strike team infiltrated the building, but they made it just moments too late. Cunningham was dead. However, while her body was left as a husk, her mind became trapped inside of the Arasaka mainframe, and Johnny was going to do everything in his power to get it back. 2 years later, the Soulkiller program is fully realized and under control by Saburo Arasaka's son and successor, Kei Arasaka. Arasaka and its biggest competitor, Militech, another corporate security and weapons manufacturing megacorp, are fighting in what would be known as the Fourth Corporate War. Kei is using Soulkiller decisively in hopes of finally ending this brutal war. A number of high-ranking individuals, congressmen, and Militech officials have been found jacked into the net with their bodies limp and their minds blank. As the Fourth Corporate War is coming to a head, Johnny is contacted by U.S. Army General Patrick Eddington Sr., commander of the American and Militech forces around Night City. He, along with Rogue, Thompson, Netrunner Spider Murphy, Fulborg Solo Shaitan, and arguably the most famous solo in the world and longtime friend of Johnny, Morgan Blackhand, are tasked with once again storming Arasaka's Night City Tower to kill Kei Arasaka, save Alt, and finally destroy the Soul Killer program. But things just don't go as planned. Johnny sacrificed himself and was gunned down by Psycho Fulborg Solo and Arasaka operative Adam Smasher, allowing Spider, Rogue, and an injured Thompson to escape after saving Alt by tossing fragments of her onto the net in hopes of someday retrieving, then re-resing them back into her best friend Alt, albeit virtually. As Blackhand and Smasher fight to the death, they are consumed in Militech's explosives attacks that bring down the Arasaka Tower. They are presumed dead, but we won't know for sure until the events of Cyberpunk 2077 unfold. However, even though Johnny is definitely dead, his consciousness is somehow now stored on a chip, the same chip that the Fixer, Dexter Deshawn, gives us a mission to retrieve, and through some unknown method allows Johnny to exist almost 60 years after his physical death. I'm excited to see what CDPR does with this character and how he'll impact our story when the game finally does come out. Ever since he disappeared, people have mourned Johnny Silverhand. In Cyberpunk 2077, we can see graffiti all throughout Night City that simply says, "Where's Johnny?" Even decades later, people hold out hope that Johnny Silverhand is somewhere out there, ready to raise some hell and lead the revolution.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
Yo, thank you so much for watching the video, and let me know down in the comments how you think CDPR will flesh out Johnny's story. Let's have a discussion. Also, this video will definitely be the first of many, and I do appreciate constructive criticism. I want to make the best, most high quality content for you guys, and every suggestion helps. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like for the Y tag, and consider subscribing for more Cyberpunk 2077 content.